Shalawam Akiyam, Wa'ak Wathiyam, Kalhalayam, Wahata Pa'avath, La, Abanawa Yahweh, Bahashem Shal, Malaki Hawashai, Bahashem, Shalha, Wakakwadash, Lyra Lam Yam, Wa Adayam. All praises and the glory to our Father Yahweh, in the name of King Yahushai, in the name of the Holy Spirit forever and always. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone Everywhere. Much love to all you brothers out on the highways and byways, out on the front lines of this spiritual war, helping seal the 144,000. Ha Bayath Shao Dawada, the house of David, and we pray to be part of that number, Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing. Much love to the helpers and friends of the prophets, of the men and women that are gonna be part of the 144,000 and the 1/3. Much love to the 1/3 Israelites scattered all around the earth, the great multitude that scatter amongst the heathen nations, and even look just like these other heathen nations, where they have been scattered too, and don't have the typical Israelite appearance, but they still go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the holy, royal, chosen seed line, who the kingdom of heaven, salvation, the covenants, promises, blessings, and everlasting life is only for. And much love to the 1/3 women and children that are gonna receive salvation through a man of the Lord. And this video is titled, The Manna from Heaven is Magic Mushrooms, aka Psychedelic Mushrooms. And we're gonna get into it, because this knowledge has never been brought up before. And yes, magic mushrooms are good for you. And magic mushrooms is something that we're supposed to be consuming to fully open up our pineal gland. Yup, and this is going to lead to spiritual power, and this is going to lead to the downfall of Esau. And Esau knows that. That's why magic mushrooms and DMT is so demonized, because Esau knows that it's our power source. Magic mushrooms and DMT for the nation of Israel is like spinach for Popeye. So let's get right into it. Now I'm going to go to an excerpt from a book. Now this is titled Manna from Heaven by Steve Cubby, and it's from a book called Psychedelic Illuminations Volume 1. So let's get right into it. It says, there are a great many people who would never consider the use of visionary plants to be a spiritual experience. These people believe that spiritual experiences must come directly from God, and that the use of visionary plants goes against the teachings of the Bible. Contrary to this notion, the Bible never explicitly prohibits the use of visionary plants or potions. What you will find, however, is many curious references to a spiritual food sent down from heaven by God called manna. The Bible never tells us exactly what manna was and where it came from, but there are many Old Testament passages which describe its physical qualities and conditions associated with its appearance. The Bible's first reference to manna is in the book of Exodus, as the children of Israel are fleeing from Egypt and following Moses into the wilderness. After 6 weeks of wandering, they begin complaining to Moses that they are tired and hungry. What happens next is truly extraordinary. And then it goes to Exodus chapter 16 and 4. And it says, then said the Lord Yahweh unto Moses, behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove them, whether they will walk in my law or no. And then it goes to Exodus chapter 16 and 14. And when the dew that was lay was gone up, behold, upon the face of the wilderness there lay a small round thing, as small as the hoarfrost on the ground. And when the children of Israel saw it, they said one to another, it is manna, for they wist not what it was. And Moses said unto them, this is the bread which the Lord Yahweh hath given you to eat. When I read this passage, I was struck by the fact that manna easily fits the description of psilocybe mushrooms. For one thing, magic mushrooms are small and round, and since they sprout so rapidly, they would seem to appear overnight, as if out of the sky. Also, anyone harvesting them would immediately notice that they turned blue, were torn, and had no roots, giving more reason to believe that the mushrooms were of celestial origin. Note that manna does not just fall from heaven, but instead it is described as coming with the dew and frost during the wet seasons. These are the precise weather conditions for mushrooms to thrive. And finally, manna is described as a bread. Although translations have obscured the intent of this passage, it seems to be a description of how to find and identify manna and distinguish it from other non-psychoactive or possibly lethal mushrooms. Look for the small round things which are like bread, come with the rain, and seem to have heavenly bluish coloring. Psilocybe mushrooms also sprout in tiny pinheads which branch out in all directions and bear a resemblance to hoarfrost. It is also interesting to note that Moses tells the children of Israel that manna comes directly from heaven to test them on whether or not they will walk in Yahweh's law. Here is evidence that manna was endued with unusual spiritual powers, like those of magic mushrooms. However, manna does not automatically confer spiritual power, but in actuality it does. That's why Esau legalized it. But I'm just gonna read it word for word and read the entire article so y'all can get the whole thing. And it's gonna get more into spiritual power in a little bit. Instead, it serves as a test. Magic mushrooms would provide visionary experiences that would certainly test all who ingested them. Moses also said that the manna is literally the bread of the Lord, which is remarkably similar to the literal Aztec name for psilocybe mushrooms, quote unquote, flesh of the gods. Yep, and guess what? All throughout caves, all throughout ancient drawings, and even old pictures, when it comes to the catacombs, and when it comes to, well, what's that other book, Russian icons? You'll see a lot of pictures of all the biblical patriarchs and Yahushua and the 12 apostles, and it shows them holding mushrooms, and it shows mushrooms in the background. Is that any coincidence? Nope. Mushrooms was widely used throughout Israel, going way back to the ancient world. Why? Because that connects us to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. That's why it's called angel's bread. Yep, and it gives you a very angelic feeling, a very spiritual godlike euphoria when you use it. And I'm going to get into all that in a little bit, but let's continue reading on. And it says, but how and why did the manna suddenly appear? Again, referring to the Bible, it is clear that the children of Israel had journeyed to a land where there was dew in the morning. As a large nomadic tribe, the Israelites brought a lot of cattle and sheep together in the area. That meant a great deal of manure. The change of climate from the arid lands of Egypt to the dewy climate of the wilderness created ideal conditions for the propagation and spread of psilocybe mushrooms and livestock dung. And then it says in Exodus chapter 12, verses 19 and 20, we find more references to manna. Anyone familiar with wild mushrooms knows that they go bad very quickly and shrivel up under the heat of the sun, exactly like manna. Why? Because magic mushrooms is manna, aka angel's bread. It seems curious that Moses recognized the manna instantly when the children of Israel showed it to him. He knew that the manna would spoil if it was not picked and eaten in the morning. But how did Moses know about manna? Perhaps Moses knew about manna because he had already encountered the mushroom at the time he saw the burning bush. Referring to an earlier period of his life, we find that Moses, and then it goes to Numbers, and let me get it. It says it there, but I'm going to actually read it from the scriptures itself. Let me go to Numbers. No, actually, Exodus 3. Exodus chapter 3 and 1. It says, now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the backside of the desert, and came to the mountain of Yahweh, even to Horeb. And the angel of the Lord Yahweh appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. And then it continues on. Had Moses eaten the sacred mushroom while camped at the mountain? Here again, we can only speculate that manure from his flock and a change in climate had created the proper environment for the mushrooms to fruit. Perhaps Moses ingested the mushrooms purely by accident, but of course we all know that nothing happens by accident and nothing is by coincidence. And Moses already knew about manna. He already knew about the magic mushrooms. That's how he was able to instantly identify what it was the moment he saw it, because he was already familiar with it. And then it says, or perhaps his father-in-law, who we know was also a priest, had introduced Moses to the mushroom. Archaeological evidence of psychedelic mushroom use in biblical times is well documented by Terence McKenna, so it is reasonable to conclude that mushrooms could have had some experience with visionary mushrooms. It says later in Numbers chapter 11 verses 6 through 9, it says manna is again described in terms that are remarkably similar to mushrooms, to magic mushrooms. And why is that? Because manna is magic mushrooms. And now let's go to Numbers chapter 11 verses 6 to 9. And then it says, actually, you know what? I'm gonna begin at verse 1. The main point is in verses 6 to 9, but we'll begin at 1 to get a little bit of the story. Numbers chapter 11 and 1. And when the people complained, it displeased the Lord Yahweh. And the Lord Yahweh heard it, and his anger was kindled, and the fire of the Lord burnt among them, and consumed them that were in the uttermost parts of the camp. And the people cried unto Moses, and when Moses prayed unto the Lord Yahweh, the fire was quenched, and he called the name of the place Taberah, because the fire of the Lord Yahweh burnt among them. And the mixed multitude that was among them fell a-lusting, and the children of Israel also wept again, and said, who shall give us flesh to eat? We remember the fish which we had eaten in Egypt freely, the cucumbers, and the melons, and the leeks, and the onions, and the garlic. But now, here's the main point, but now our soul is dried away. There was nothing at all, besides this manna, before our eyes. And the manna was as coriander seed, and the color thereof was the color of bdellium. And the people went about and gathered it, and ground it in mills, or beat it in a mortar, and baked it in pans, and made cakes of it. And the taste of it was as the taste of fresh oil. And when the dew fell upon the camp in the night, the manna fell upon it. Yep, so that's how you know that it's talking about something physical. Because mushrooms grow so fast to where it would appear to come out of the sky, or it would appear instantly overnight. And when there's the dew and the hoarfrost, that's the perfect conditions in order for magic mushrooms to grow. And it said it was as coriander seed. And when mushrooms are dried and when it's beat, it looks just like coriander seed. Why? Because magic mushrooms is the manna from heaven. Yup, and Esau knows it. That's why it's so demonized. Esau knows that mushrooms connect us to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Like people always talk about the pineal gland, but guess what opens up your pineal gland? Magic mushrooms and DMT. Yup, this is some very deep knowledge. This is some very high level knowledge. And let's keep going. And then it says, here we find manna described as before our eyes, having a neutral taste like fresh oil. And once again, the Bible mentions that manna appearing in the morning when the dew fell. The Old Testament even tells us what manna looks like. The manna was as coriander seed, and the color thereof. When psilocybe mushrooms are dried, their range of colors is virtually identical to dried coriander seed. In both cases, with mushrooms and coriander seeds, we see great similarities in the texture, color, tones, contrast, and general visual appearance. The children of Israel must have given great The children of Israel must have given great thought about how to transmit the appearance of manna so as to aid future generations who might encounter it. However, mushrooms were a mystery to the Hebrews, and they were unable to predict where the manna could be found. Little did they realize that the manure from their cattle was providing a means for the mushroom to find its way into their mountain campsites. Notice that the manna was ground in mills or beat it in a mortar. That is odd, because earlier we are told that manna was quite delicate, and then the sun waxed hot and melted. However, if manna was the psilocybe mushroom, then it was probably dried and then ground in order to be used for bacon. In fact, dried magic mushrooms are quite hard. Grinding or crushing the dried mushroom and then baking with the powder would ensure that the delicate psychoactive molecules retain their highest potency. In the next passage, the Bible describes manna as having light tan color and texture like a wafer, certainly an accurate description of the color and texture of dried psilocybe mushroom. We also learn that the taste of manna is no longer that of fresh oil, but rather that of honey. According to McKenna's research, honey has long been used in Mexico as a preserved medium for psilocybin-containing mushrooms. Perhaps the children of Israel had begun to mix honey with the manna to preserve its potency. We find that Moses announced that manna must be kept for future generations. Yep, so now it goes to Exodus chapter 16 and 31, so let me grab that. And then it says, and the house of Israel called the name thereof manna. Yup, manna is magic mushrooms. And guess what? The word manna means mushrooms. Yep, so that's no coincidence. It says, and the house of Israel called the name thereof manna, and it was like coriander seed, white, and the taste of it was like wafers made with honey. And Moses said, this is the thing which the Lord Yahweh commandeth. Fill an omer of it to be kept for your generations, that they may see the bread wherewith I have fed you in the wilderness, when I brought you forth from the land of Egypt. And Moses said unto Aaron, take a pot, and put an omer full of manna therein, and lay it up before the Lord Yahweh, to be kept for your generations. And the Lord Yahweh commanded Moses, so Aaron laid it up before the testimony, to be kept. And the children of Israel did eat manna 40 years, until they came to a land inhabited. They did eat manna, until they came unto the borders of the land of Canaan. Now an omer is the 10th part of an ephah. Yup. Manna is magic mushrooms, and there ain't no denying it. The proof and the evidence is irrefutable. Now let's keep going. And now it says, again, we are told to fill an omer with manna. But how much is an omer? Isaac Asimov, in his book on the Bible, concludes that an omer is about 4 liters, while the King James Version of the Bible estimates an omer to be 6 pints. Psilocybe mushrooms are 92% water, and only 8% remains when they are dried. Also, fresh mushrooms take up a lot of space due to their shape. So 4 liters of fresh magic mushrooms would yield less than 1/10 of a liter, or about 1/4 cup of dried powdered manna. This corresponds closely with the amount of magic mushrooms required for a moderately strong dose when used for bacon. This is important because it clearly shows that not only does manna have similar qualities to magic mushrooms, it also shows that it was also used in the same quantity as mushrooms. So manna matches psilocybe mushrooms on both a qualitative and quantitative analysis, providing a compelling argument that psilocybe mushrooms are in actuality, quote-unquote, manna from heaven. It says, of course, there are those who will remain eternally skeptical, but keep in mind that the description of manna given in the Old Testament bears an exact resemblance to mushrooms. Even if psilocybe mushrooms are not manna, the similarities have indicated mushrooms as a possible candidate, and they certainly fit the bill for a quote-unquote spiritual food. Unfortunately, when the children of Israel finally reached the arid land of Canaan, the mysterious manna no longer appeared. Yep, and then it goes to Joshua chapter 5 and 12, and let's get that. Joshua 5 and 12. And the manna ceased on the morrow after they had eaten of the old corn of the land. Neither had the children of Israel manna any more, but they did eat of the fruit of the land of Canaan that year. And then it says, the children of Israel must have been deeply disappointed when they ran out of their sacred manna. We can see that they went to great lengths to preserve their knowledge about identifying and using manna. The Old Testament contains detailed information about the color, texture, appearance, and relationship to dew. And the Old Testament even explains how manna is to be ground and then used in baking cakes. If the Israelites thought that manna was a magical event caused by Yahweh, would they have bothered to note all the details about the identification of manna? What about the manna that Moses said must be put away for future generations? Turning to Hebrews chapter 9, verses 3 and 4, we find, and then it says, and after the second veil, the tabernacle, which is called the holiest of all, which had the golden censer, and the ark of the covenant overlaid round about with gold, wherein was the golden pot that had manna, and Aaron's rod that budded, and the tables of the covenant. Yup. So even the New Testament mentions manna. Even Yahushua spoke about manna. And then it says, here we learn that manna was to be kept in the holiest of all, the Ark of the Covenant. Clearly, the manna was something of great spiritual power, since the Hebrews treated it with such reverence and even went to such great lengths to see that manna be given to future generations. We must also consider the covenant that the Jews, not the Jewish, the Jews, the Israelites, the 12 tribes of Israel, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans. We must also consider the covenant that the Israelites held with Yahweh, which was celebrated throughout the act of circumcision. Why was this covenant with Yahweh associated with the removal of foreskin from infant males? Why not a tattoo, scar, article of clothing, or jewelry? Perhaps the answer is that the circumcised penis bears a remarkable resemblance to psilocybe mushroom. just before the partial veil has broken away from the mushroom caps and they are at their greatest potency. If the Ark of the Covenant was specifically built to store manna, it is logical that was also tied to manna throughout the ritual act of circumcision, which gave each Israelite male his own mushroom-like penis. And that ain't no coincidence, because a uncircumcised penis looks just like a mushroom tip. And guess what? There's even a type of magic mushroom that's called penis envy. And that's amazing because it says once the mushroom head breaks, that's when it's at its greatest potency. And when it comes to male circumcision, when is the baby supposed to be circumcised? On the 8th day. And guess what? On the 8th day, after an Israelite man is born, an Israelite baby, its immune system is at its strongest. Yep, and guess what? What's very spiritual also is that, say if a woman wants to sleep with a man, right? And he rejects her, or if a man denies his woman sex, he'll be like, I ain't giving her no mushroom tip. That ain't no coincidence. That's all spiritual. Nothing is by coincidence. And what's also very spiritual is that, right? Because magic mushrooms are known to grow from cow dung, right? And what's a popular saying when you hear something or see something interesting or amazing or something that brings you in awe? You say, holy shit, right? Yep, holy shit. Yep, and that also explains why Israelites were making golden calves and worshiping cows, because mushrooms come from them. That ain't no coincidence. Yep, this is all spiritual. And let's get right back into it. It says the discovery that manna was and is psilocybin mushrooms is not simply an issue of theological or academic debate. So great was the power conferred by manna that this small band of wandering slaves, now it's gonna get into spiritual power. The discovery that manna was and is psilocybin mushrooms is not simply an issue of theological or academic debate. So great was the power conferred by manna that this small band of wandering slaves were able to defeat all enemies who crossed their path, even when confronted by armies that were bigger and better equipped. Jews, Christians, and Muslims, even though the only real people are the Israelites, and Christian and Muslims has nothing to do with the Bible or us, and we are the real Christians, because it tells you that in the New Testament how the disciples were first called Christians at Antioch, but I'm going to just read it word for word. Jews, Christians, and Muslims can all trace their roots to the children of Israel who ate manna for 40 years and saw themselves as Yahweh's chosen people. Again, we are reminded of McKenna's thesis that those who ate psilocybin mushrooms had a survival advantage due to better visual acuity, heightened senses, better hunting skills, and for the children of Israel, better warrior skills. Manna gave the Hebrews their own covenant with Yahweh, one that is even recognized today by Christians who believe that the Jews have already earned a special place as the chosen people. Biblical scholar Grant Jeffrey explains, the covenant which Yahweh made with Abraham and the kingdom promises to David, Solomon, and all the prophets will be finally realized in the millennial kingdom. The Lord promised a new covenant with Isaac. It says Ishmael there, but it's supposed to say Isaac. The Lord Yahweh promised a new covenant with Isaac, in which he would give them a new heart, forgiveness of sin, and the infilling of the Spirit to the renewed nation. This promised kingdom will provide the fulfillment of all the hopes and dreams of the chosen people forever. What is the new covenant? It is the rediscovery of manna. Across the gulf of thousands of years, the Bible transmits an accurate and detailed description of manna, waiting for the time when the message can be decoded and manna can again fulfill its role as the celestial messenger. Manna was the basis of the Israelite covenant with Yahweh. Indeed, it is this covenant and the use of manna which has set the Jews apart as the chosen people. And then it goes to say how the Bible is not the message, which that's wrong. The Bible is the message. The Bible is the message, and it points the way. Manna is the only sacrament that provides the means for Yahweh to prove them whether they will walk in my law or no. And then it says, the manna is indeed the psilocybe mushroom. If the manna is indeed the psilocybe mushroom, which it is, then this means that the Bible and the Torah, it says Quran there, but we know that the Quran is fake, and we only deal with the Bible and Torah. If manna is indeed the psilocybe mushroom, then this means that the Bible and Torah were all inspired by psychedelically induced visions. The very foundations upon which these doctrines, the truth, it says religion, but we don't deal with religion, we deal with the truth, rest were derived from the mushroom experience. Moses and the children of Israel used the mushrooms as true sacraments to communicate with a higher power, known as Yahweh, not Allah, not Yahweh. The discovery that manna is real and is available to us today means that the children of Israel, we too can use manna to experience the joy, wisdom, and spiritual renewal of the chosen people. Yes, so we're supposed to be consuming magic mushrooms. Magic mushrooms are good for you. And it has a wide range of physical benefits, mental benefits, spiritual benefits, physiological benefits. And I'm going to get into all the benefits in a little bit, but we're going to get some more articles and we're going to get some more proof about magic mushrooms, aka manna from heaven, angel's bread. So let's get some more. Just waiting for it to load. Yeah, never mind those idols and all those abominations. There we go. Now this is on a website called Reba, website Goddess of Beauty. And it gets into more about magic mushrooms. And this person wrote, I got a revelation in 2015 by Yahweh the Father. The magic mushrooms is the manna spoken of in the Bible, the angel's food. He told me to tell you all to take the magic mushrooms to set yourself free from the matrix and gain back your divinity, especially the 144,000 elect. You know who you are out there. Most of you who are targeted individuals and seeing the number synchronicity 144. You all remember how we fell, got banned from heaven since the great flood and lost all our powers and got trapped and kept reincarnating on earth ever since? We fell as we were strictly warned never to mingle with heathens. It says mortals, but it should say heathens, and most of you disobeyed. You got a final chance to repent and surrender now. Most still have that weakness of lust. You need to control it, and only with the help of the Holy Spirit will you succeed. Alone, it's almost impossible. But what that should say is that alone, it is impossible, because we cannot do it without Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. It says governments, Illuminatis, reptilians, are covering this up, calling it quote-unquote drugs or quote-unquote hallucinogens, just to baffle your mind and make you think it's all false so you lose interest, because they want your soul to remain trapped in the matrix. It's not drugs, but ethogens, just like ayahuasca. Yeah, in ayahuasca, is DMT, dimethyltryptamine, in drink form when you brew it and then you drink it like a tea. And guess what DMT is in the Bible? DMT is in the book of Exodus. When we did our incense burning rituals, Moses was told to get DMT containing plants like acacia, Syrian rue. Those are the most DMT containing plants on the planet. So yes, DMT is good for you, mushrooms is good for you, and we have trace amounts of DMT in our body because mushrooms and DMT connect us to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai. And Esau knows by us consuming mushrooms and DMT, it'll connect us back to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai. It'll fully open up our pineal glands and we'll receive spiritual power. And Esau's afraid of that because Esau knows that we're being fully activated once again. That's why DMT and mushrooms are the two most illegal substances on the planet. Nothing is by coincidence. Anything that's readily available to us is meant to destroy us. Anything that's illegal and demonized, like cannabis, kratom, vitamin B17, apricot seeds, magic mushrooms, DMT, the bitter almond tree, which cures cancer, it's all illegal because it's all beneficial for the nation of Israel. And these devils know that. And let's continue on. It's not drugs, but ethogens, just like ayahuasca. It's not party drugs, and its property is very shamanic and spiritual. It's taken directly as it is from nature. It's not processed chemically as other real harmful drugs. Exactly. And that's why it says in the book of Sirach how the Lord Yahweh made medicines out of the earth. Anything that's produced by the earth and that's untampered with and that doesn't get put in the laboratory, it's natural and it's lawful and it's healthy and it's beneficial. Anything that comes from the earth is medicine. So magic mushrooms is good for you. DMT is good for you. Anything that grows naturally is good for you. Anything that's natural is medicine. Whatever comes out of a laboratory is a drug. Yahweh by Hashem Yahshai does not give us drugs. He gives us medicine. He gives us herbs and natural healing remedies. And then it says, even BBC and other mainstream media have spoken of how it cures depression. I was personally cured from depression and anxiety in 2015 thanks to this. It rewires your brain, acts as an antivirus, and activates some chambers in your brain that has been disactivated since Noah's flood. Demons have been sabotaging me for 3 years since 2015 not to speak about this. Yup, and little do you all know, as I'm doing this video, this is like my 3rd to 4th time trying to redo this video because Esau does not want this knowledge getting out. Esau knows that us consuming mushrooms and DMT is his downfall. We already know that we're Israelites. We know that he's going to slavery. We know that we're about to get spiritual power. And guess what? Esau knows that he's also about to go in chains and go in captivity and pay double. Well, guess what's going to give us the spiritual power? Guess what's going to fully activate us? Mushrooms, magic mushrooms, and DMT, the manna from heaven. Esau knows this. And Yahweh desires this video uploads this time. And I'm happy that the video is being redone now because a lot of times when I redo a video, it comes out even better the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th time. And now I have even more knowledge about it, so now I could be more on fire with it and make the video even longer and bring on more information and edification. And it says, every time I tried to post on magic mushrooms, some weird stuffs were happening. Yeah, when I was trying to do the video before, my laptop kept messing up, my Google Chrome kept messing up. I had to uninstall Google Chrome, re-download it. My phone was messing up. My screen recorder kept freezing. The video kept corrupting, even though I just put in a 64 gigabyte memory card for my phone, so now I can do longer videos without the files corrupting, and the videos are still messing up. Esau knows that we're onto something, and Esau knows that he is done for. These devils are literally shitting themselves, and they know this is it for them. And it says every time I tried to post on magic mushrooms, some weird stuff were happening. For example, in 2016, I posted it in a group, Galactic Federation of Light. My post would mysteriously disappear, and I got booted out from the group without any moderator banning me. When I messaged the administrator, she told me I was not banned, but I couldn't join in the group neither, despite she was trying to help me get in. A complete weird technical issue. Couldn't be a coincidence. And there was always an invisible evil force that was preventing me from speaking in public. When I planted my magic mushrooms, many times demons would cause numerous technical problems up to contaminating it. And then it repeats the same thing from here that the other article was saying, how it gives the description, color, appearance, and the conditions that Manna, aka magic mushrooms, grow in. And that was it on this one. And hold on, let me see. There might be some more on this one I want to get. Let me just skim through it real quick. But it pretty much says the same thing that the other one was saying. Yep, and then it says down here, it says psychedelics, which that's like an ironic term. When people hear the term psychedelics, it's associated with evil. You're seeing demons going crazy, but mushrooms don't make you go crazy. Mushrooms give you a divine, angelic, heavenly, godlike euphoria, unlike everything you've ever felt in your entire life. It is the most beautiful feeling that you will ever feel in your life. Magic mushrooms feel amazing. It is one of the most beneficial, most powerful healing substances that you'll ever consume in your life. And for you brothers that have had them before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's only a feeling that you can experience when you try it yourself. It's like trying to explain what sex feels like. It's something that you gotta do. It's a beautiful feeling that you gotta do to truly know what it feels like. And I've had mushrooms 3 times. I've had Manna 3 times already. I had mushrooms a week ago. And it feels like you're in heaven. And that's why it's called magic mushrooms. They don't call them magic mushrooms for nothing. It makes you feel magical. It makes you feel supernatural. It makes you feel angelic. That's why it's called angel's bread. The bread of heaven. That's why even the ancient Aztecs, they called it the flesh of the gods. It makes you feel like a god. And we're supposed to consume it. It's the law. It's a commandment to consume magic mushrooms. So really, you're going off by not consuming magic mushrooms. And a lot of people will say like mushrooms or DMT is witchcraft. No, it's not. How is consuming something natural witchcraft? The Lord said that rebellion is as the sin as witchcraft. So by you not using mushrooms and DMT and opening up your pineal gland to connect with Yahweh Hashem Yashai, that makes you a witch. Our pineal gland's supposed to be open. Now, it's really ironic how a lot of dudes will talk about mushrooms. I mean, they'll talk about the pineal gland, but they never tell you how to open it. Okay, so we have a pineal gland, we have a third eye, so how do you open it? I'll wait. Exactly, you have no answer, right? So how do you open your pineal gland? Fasting, praying, a healthy diet, but what does it on a much, much higher level? Yep, you guessed it. Manna from heaven, aka magic mushrooms, and DMT. Because whilst we have a pineal gland, is our pineal gland there for decoration? No, it's meant to be open, right? Exactly. And magic mushrooms and DMT do just that. They open up your pineal gland. And let me get a drink of water real quick. Bear with me a second. All right, all set. And then it says, psychedelics are not illegal because a loving government is concerned of your health that you may jump from a 10th floor of a building. Psychedelics are illegal because they know your souls will finally detach and be free from this matrix in which they created to trap and enslave souls in it. and that everything they taught you was wrong. Yeah, exactly. Magic mushrooms and DMT, they break you away from the matrix. They unlock your brain. They give you full access to your brain and full access to the fourth dimension. They completely connect you to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshai. And Esau knows this. Just how the scriptures say, how Esau has searched everything out. Yeah, you don't think Esau has spent millions of dollars doing many different tests and studies on the effects of magic mushrooms and DMT? Of course he has. Why do you think it's illegal? You think it's illegal because Esau gives a fuck about you? No. Because obviously Esau don't give a fuck about your health if he's giving you chemtrails, GMO food, fluoride, and 5G towers. So obviously if it's illegal, it must be good for you, and it is good for us. Because Esau don't want us connecting back to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshai. Esau does not want us consuming manna. Esau don't want us using DMT. Because he knows our mind's gonna be fully open and we're gonna be fully connected with our power, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshai, and we're gonna get the spiritual power and take him down. And it's about to happen. Esau can't prevent this awakening. And that was it on that one right there. Now I'm gonna go to another one. And now this one is from a book called Jesus and the Magic Mushroom. Really, it should say Yahweh Shai and the Magic Mushroom, because Jesus ain't his name. But here, it shows magic mushrooms. Dried magic mushrooms right there in dried form. It looks just like coriander seed. It's the color of bdellium. And now let's read a little about it. And then after I read this, I'm gonna show you a close-up picture zoomed in of magic mushrooms. And it's gonna give all the descriptions, color and appearance and everything, and show you how it fits the same exact description of coriander seed, and how it fits the same exact description of what the Bible says of what manna looks like, on how it grows, the perfect conditions, on its exact appearance and colors and everything else. So I'm gonna start where it says, I wish I could zoom in, but it won't let me zoom in. But you see where that gray line is up top? And where it says in pans, I'm gonna go to the next paragraph where it says, here we find manna. Here we find manna, described as before our eyes, having a neutral taste like fresh oil. And once again, the Bible mentions that manna appearing in the morning when the dew fell. The Old Testament even tells us what the manna looks like. The manna was as coriander seed, and the color thereof. When psilocybin mushrooms are dried, their range of colors is virtually identical to dried coriander seed. In both cases, with mushrooms and coriander seeds, we see great similarities in the texture, color, tones, contrast, and general visual appearance. And then it says the same thing that the other article was saying, but now I'm going to go to another part that gives new information and where it says a little bit more. So there's the mushroom pictures. Hope y'all can see that good. Dried magic mushrooms, psilocybin mushrooms, so-called psychedelic mushrooms, manna from heaven, angel's bread. And now let's go down a little bit more, because it says the same exact thing as the other article. Yep, just giving the same information. Yep, so you see where it shows the bold letters? It says, see the pictures of the sprouting shrooms and compare them with the biblical description of manna. The similarities between the identifying features are undeniable. Then, combined with the effects of the usage of them, which you must experience for yourself to understand, the truth will become clear. You see? It said that you must experience it for yourself. So for those of you that never done mushrooms or you never took them, like the euphoria and the godlike, atmospheric, oceanic, angelic feeling, it is the most beautiful fucking feeling that you will ever feel in your fucking life. It feels so fucking amazing. In order to experience true spirituality, you have to consume mushrooms and DMT. Like, to experience such a high level of consciousness like that, it'll make you feel so blissful and heavenly. It'll make you feel so heavenly that you will feel like you're not even worthy to feel it. It feels that fucking good. It's something that you have to do to experience it. Words can't describe how good it feels. You know how when Paul went to the third heaven and he said that it was so beautiful that it would be a sin even trying to describe it? Guess what? Magic mushrooms gives you a glimpse of heaven. Magic mushrooms gives you a glimpse of the Heavenly Father Yahweh's abode. Magic mushrooms gives you a taste of the fourth dimension, and that's exactly why it's illegal, because Esau doesn't want us being on a high frequency and a high vibration and being in touch with Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai and having our pineal glands open. And then it says, so then it asks you questions about the bread from heaven, the angel's bread, the manna from heaven, aka magic mushrooms. It says, do they appear as balls in the dew? Yes. Does the white mycelium look like hoarfrost? Yes. Do they appear in great numbers overnight? Yes. Does the coloring look similar to coriander seed? Yes. Does the coloring also look similar to the description of bdellium? Yes. Do the tops of the mushrooms resemble little loaves of fresh baked bread? Yes. If left undried, do they turn into blue mush and spoil quickly? Yes. Have they been used by various civilizations for spiritual sacrament more than anything else? Yes. Would a power, a God who loves us, offer this special sustenance to all who seek it out all over the world, not just in the Holy Land, talking about the Israelite foreigners scattered everywhere? Yes. Do they trigger a spiritual experience and allow a better understanding of Yahweh and the afterlife? Yes. In the Bible, in the section named Deuteronomy, specifically verse 28 and chapter 28 and 4, there is also hides a clue, quote unquote, in Deuteronomy 28 and 4. Blessed shall be the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thy kin, and the flocks of thy sheep. Yep, the fruit of thy cattle, that's twofold. Talking about the cattle fertilizing our crops and our fruits and vegetables, and our cows and their manure producing manna for us, aka magic mushrooms. It says the understanding that manna, aka psilocybin mushrooms, aka magic mushrooms, aka fruit of knowledge, and then it says forbidden fruit, but that's off right there, grows as fruit from the droppings of cattle, makes this verse take on a whole new meaning. Yep, and here's more pictures of magic mushrooms. Yep, that's the bread from heaven right there. That's angel's bread, manna. Yep, and that's the end of it pretty much. And let me get a drink of water real quick. Bear with me a second. Alright, so now let's get some pictures real quick. Yup. It says, finally the truth comes out. The tree fruit of knowledge has been hidden. This is manna from heaven. And now read the description from top to bottom. Looks like little bread buns. Color of bdellium. A small round thing. Comes with the dew. Provides a visionary spiritual experience as coriander seed, hoarfrost. And it says the Gospel of Thomas provides a clear picture of this simple truth and helps us understand it. Yup. And that's exactly why it's illegal, because Esau knows that it's part of our power source. This devil knows exactly what he's doing. But now the truth ain't hidden no more and this devil's going down. And now let me go to another article. I'm gonna read like one more article or two, and then we're gonna talk about the benefits of manna, aka magic mushrooms. And this is on a website called SJSU News. And it's titled, "The Government Fears Higher Thinking." And the writer says, "Upon putting magic mushrooms into my mouth for the first time last summer, I was intrigued by the spiritual experiences and hallucinations that many people said would change my life. It did exactly that. Seeing a night sky full of glitter with purple and green auroras floating around me as I danced through the grass with someone I loved inspired immense feelings of joy and happiness that I didn't know existed." Exactly. That's exactly what magic mushrooms does. It gives you a type of bliss, a type of euphoria, a type of godliness, holiness, happiness that you will never ever felt in your life. That alcohol can't give you, that sex can't give you. It's something that you truly have to do yourself to feel it. And if you can get magic mushrooms, if you can grow them yourself, or if you can find them in nature, or know someone that sells them, yo, get you some magic mushrooms. Take 3 to 5 grams, and you will get a taste of the kingdom of heaven. No fucking lie. No fucking lie. Give it a try. Try it. You will not regret it. It resets your spirit. It heals brain trauma. It has so many spiritual benefits, and I'm gonna get to all the benefits in a little bit, but now let's continue on this for now. And it says, "The trees were swaying, and I was finally seeing the world in the most beautiful perspective. As I came down hours later, I thought to myself, how could a drug that gave me access to dream-like euphoria and transformative thinking be so demonized? It is incredibly plausible that the only reason psychedelics are still illegal is because the United States government fears people having the ability to reach deeper parts of their consciousness and higher levels of thinking." Psychonaut and anthrobotanist Terence McKenna said it best in his 1991 book, The Archaic Revival, that psychedelics are illegal not because a loving government is concerned you may jump out of a third-story window. Psychedelics are illegal because they dissolve opinion structures and open you up to the possibility that everything you know is wrong, McKenna said. And it says, after the psychedelic 60s, former President Richard Nixon intensified America's war on drugs and passed the Controlled Substances Act of 1970. The policy resulted in misperceptions of risk and highly restrictive regulation that psychedelics, according to the Johns Hopkins Center of Psychedelic and Consciousness Research, if the United States government and Drug Enforcement Administration continue to render psychedelics such as LSD, psilocybin, magic mushrooms, because psilocybin is the psychoactive ingredient in magic mushrooms, MDMA, aka ecstasy, and DMT as Schedule I drugs, then they are perpetuating ignorance. Yeah, see, when it comes to LSD and MDMA, aka ecstasy, those are unnatural because they're man-made and they're produced in a lab, so those are called drugs. But things like DMT and magic mushrooms, those are natural, so that's called medicine. And that was it on this one. Then it goes off into statistics on how the Johns Hopkins University has been demonizing all these things to keep us away from it. So now, we're gonna get the benefits of magic mushrooms, aka angel's bread, aka manna. And let's get some more stuff. I got a whole lot more stuff to get. So yes, mushrooms, magic mushrooms are good for you. They're not bad for you. They don't make you go crazy. If you take it properly and if you take the proper amount, it'll feel amazing. And you're probably asking, what's the proper amount? Well, it all depends on you. Like how the scriptures say, a false balance is an abomination to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yashai, right? So what's moderation for you may be excessive to somebody else. For example, you may be able to handle 3 glasses of wine. That may be your moderation. But somebody may have such a weak immune system that even drinking 1 glass of wine will have them completely fucked up. So you gotta test your spirit and see what's best for you and see what's the right amount for you. Even when it comes to medicine, whether it's Pepto-Bismol, Esau's poison, whether it's Robitussin, whether it's Tylenol, aspirin, anything like that. For a child, the dosage is different for a full-grown adult. So what's excessive for you may be different for somebody else. So you gotta gauge it and see and test it out and see what's best for you. So let's get right into it. And let me get a drink of water. Bear with me a second. Alright, so this is on a website called Healthline. Now I'm gonna get stuff on my laptop because I have like 55 tabs open on my phone. So now I'm gonna get it on my laptop because my phone runs very slow and my laptop is way quicker. So this is on a website called healthline.com. And it says, mushrooms as medicine, psychedelics may be next breakthrough in treatment. Now it's funny how Esau wants to bring all this knowledge out as if it's new, but the Bible has already documented all this, and we were already using it. But since Esau's the devil, Esau acts like it's all brand new, and he acts like he discovered it, and he wants to take all the credit for it, even though our forefathers wrote about this thousands of years ago. So it says, from treating depression to helping manage alcohol addiction, researchers say medical magic mushrooms have many potential benefits. And now let's go to the benefits. And it says how it treats depression. It gets rid of tobacco or nicotine or smoking addiction and other addictions. It says it gets rid of cancer-related psychological distress. And now I'm going to go to another one. And this one talks about microdosing, because you may not be able to handle like 3 to 5 grams or 10 grams or 15 grams or however, but you can't take like 1 gram or half a gram. That's called microdosing. You can either microdose and take it every day, or you can take a big amount, like 5 grams or higher, like once a week, every week and a half, 2 weeks, once a month. So you just gotta gauge your spirit and see what's best for you. So it says, why microdose with psilocybin mushrooms versus taking a full dose? It says taking regular large doses of magic mushrooms might not be a feasible long-term plan for most people. I mean, who has time to set aside multiple days in a row to have soul illuminating realizations about reality and the cosmos, let alone one day? It says, well, actually a lot of people, as it turns out. However, if you are in the category of people who happen to work a regular job, have a family structure to uphold, or engage in any other number of activities and commitments to fill your day with, tripping on mushrooms can end up seeming like a pretty low priority. So microdosing is a good idea for people who want to be able to have the mind-expanding and therapeutic health benefits of magic mushrooms while still being able to do the laundry. Yep, so that's pretty much just getting into microdosing. And then it says, and then it goes on more, but I just wanted to get the main points. So it says the healing benefits of magic mushrooms. And it says, Despite mounting evidence to the contrary, mushrooms have often been touted as having no medicinal value as a Schedule 1 drug. It's often assumed or imagined to be nothing more than your average hallucinogenic party drug. Recently, however, researchers at the New York University and Johns Hopkins conducted one of the largest set of trials for studying the therapeutic effects of psilocybin mushrooms on cancer patients. To the astonishment and surprise of many, 80% of cancer patients showed major reductions in psychological stress, anxiety, and depression for up to 7 months or longer after only one magic mushroom experience. In addition to the remarkable healing benefits, no other significant side effects were documented. Oh, so wait, they had extreme benefits just after one use for up to 7 months. And it said no side effects. So how the fuck can that be bad for you? How the fuck can that be a drug? How the fuck can using magic mushrooms be witchcraft? It's not. But you have a lot of people out there, even dudes in the truth, that are so stupid that they believe whatever the hell Eastside tells them. Magic mushrooms are completely good for you. And it's lawful, and guess what? We're supposed to consume it. Why? Because it's angel's bread. That's the manna from heaven spoken about in the book of Numbers and in Exodus. Yup. There's no way around it. This knowledge it's irrefutable. There's no going against it. And then it goes on to say, it says evidence that magic mushrooms can help alleviate severe depression is also mounting. A very recent study funded by the Medical Research Council and published in The Lancet demonstrated that after administering mushrooms to 12 patients suffering with severe depression, all 12 participants saw their depression lifted, with sustained effect for up to 3 months after only one dose. Regular microdoses of mushrooms are even claiming that their subperceptual rendezvous with the fungus have helped relieve cluster migraines, a painfully severe kind of headache with few known natural therapies. Yup. So I know a lot of you brothers are going through depression. You know what's gonna heal you of your depression? Yup, you guessed right, magic mushrooms. But you know what the problem with a lot of you dudes is? You're too scared. A lot of you have your head up Esau's ass and you're afraid of what Yahweh Hashem Shah created for you. You're afraid of Yahweh Hashem Shah's medicine. It's funny how a lot of you'll take oxycodone, you'll take all these psych meds, you'll take Adderall, you'll take Lorazepam, you'll take Prozac, which is fucking your head up even more and putting more demons on you, but you will not take magic mushrooms and you won't take DMT, which will take the demons off you completely. A lot of you are scared. A lot of you are scared of spirituality. A lot of you are afraid to be healthy. You're afraid to be on a high vibration. A lot of you love being unhealthy. Yeah, but guess what? All you're doing is hurting yourself. You've tried everything under the sun, and you're still fucked up the way that you are. So obviously you gotta try something new, right? What's that saying? Insanity is the same thing. Insanity is trying the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results. Yo, so obviously Esau hasn't helped you. Your devil daddy Esau hasn't helped you. So obviously you gotta try something new now, right? Yup. And what do you gotta try now? Yup. You gotta try angel bread. Yahweh Hashem Shah made this for us, but a lot of you are afraid of the truth. A lot of you are not really Israelites. A lot of you are fucking heathens. You're afraid of the medicine that Yahweh Hashem Shah gave us out of the earth. You're afraid. A lot of you, nothing but you're nothing but Edomites and melanated flesh. Yup, for real. So now let's get some more benefits. Now I'm gonna go to another article. This one is titled "Evolve and Ascend," and it talks about the 7 amazing health benefits of psilocybin mushrooms. And it says health benefit number 1, stimulates growth of new brain cells. Oh, that must be so fucking demonic, right? I know that's so evil, isn't it? It's so evil to have new brain cells, right? Yep, it says stimulates growth of new brain cells. Now, obviously, we need brain cells, right? Yep. And let's read about it. It says the main ingredient in psilocybin mushrooms, psilocybin, empowered the mice to get over their fear and promoted new neurons and generation in their brains. It says the leader, Dr. Brioni Catlow of the Lieber Institute for Brain Development, had a few things to declare after the study. Memory learning and the ability to relearn that a once threatening stimuli is no longer a danger absolutely depends on the ability of the brain to alter its connections. We believe that neuroplasticity plays a critical role in psilocybin accelerating fear extinction. It is highly possible that in the future we will continue these studies since many interesting questions have come up from these experiments. And it says, benefit number 2, reduce pain due to social rejection. And it says, we all go through rejection from time to time, right? It is a natural process when it comes to interacting with other individuals. A study performed by a team of Swiss neurologists published in April 2016 stated that psilocybin is of a great help in reducing the pain resulting from social rejection. Benefit number 3, alleviates OCD symptoms. Obsessive compulsive disorder, also known as OCD, is a psychiatric disorder which is occurring especially in patients suffering from schizophrenia, bipolar disorders, and other psychiatric ailments. And we all know that bipolar, schizophrenia, and all these other disorders, those are all demons. And how do you get rid of those demons? Yup, you guessed it. Magic mushrooms and DMT, dimethyltryptamine. And benefit number 4, it says soothes anxiety. It says in a 2011 study, researchers discovered that advanced stage patients suffering from cancer would have their anxiety soothed and drastically lowered after being administered psilocybin mushrooms. Benefit number 5, lowers depression. Studies have shown that psilocybin mushrooms are effective at treating depression very effectively, as well as treating post-traumatic stress disorder. Benefit number 6, long-term medical and spiritual benefits. It says there was a famous study done at Johns Hopkins University which left researchers stunned. Out of 36 test subjects, a third said that their experience was the most significant spiritual experience of their lives, while over 2/3 stated that it was definitely in their top 5 most significant life experiences. Here is what Dr. Roland Griffiths said from Johns Hopkins University. He said, psilocybin is an amazing tool for unlocking the mysteries of human consciousness. The core feature of this mystical experience is a strong sense of interconnectedness to all things. A rising sense of self-confidence, clarity, and communal responsibility, altruism, and social justice. Understanding the nature of these effects and their consequences may very well be the key to survival for the human species. Really, it should say the Israelite species, the nation of Israel. Because by us consuming mushrooms and DMT, we're unstoppable. And that's why Esau goes to such the great lengths to demonize it, to prevent us from getting it. Because Esau knows by us coming back to Yahweh Hashem Yashai, consuming mushrooms and DMT, and having our pineal gland fully open, Esau knows that it's game over for him. Esau knows that his time is up, that this devil is finished. Yep, and now let's get some more. And that was it on that article. Oh yeah, I forgot benefit number 7. Here we go. It says functional MRIs performed during the psychedelic experience introduced by psilocybin mushrooms suggest that these magic mushrooms wire different parts of the brain together, facilitating a much smoother communication between its various parts. The study was published in the Royal Society interface, and the images look like this. And it shows a picture, and I have the picture downloaded to my phone. It shows the brain before psilocybin, which is the active ingredient in magic mushrooms, manna. And then it shows the brain afterwards, when it shows the heightened brain activity, when it shows how it connects the brain in new waves, and it makes your neurotransmitters active again. And let's see it. Yep, here we go right here. The one you see on the left is the brain without psilocybin. Pretty much being in like a borderline brain dead state. Because like how scientists say, we only use about 10% of our brain. But when we use magic mushrooms and DMT, it gives us full access to our brain, and it fully opens up our pineal gland, like how you see on the one on the right with the heightened brain activity. Yup. Because with all the chemtrails, the fluoride, the radiation, the cell phones, the Wi-Fi modems, the 5G towers, the GMO foods, it messes up our brain. But by using mushrooms, it restores brain activity, and it makes our brain function the way that it's supposed to. And now let's talk about more mushroom benefits. And I'm gonna keep that image there so y'all can keep looking at it like, wow, that's beautiful, huh? Yep. Very beautiful benefits. And it says how magic mushrooms change lives. This one's a meme. It shows a picture. It says causes self-improvement, lasting personality change, increased productivity, and it says magic mushrooms also enhance memory. It says people take magic mushrooms for a wide variety of reasons, but most recreational users are unable to tap into the benefits of mushrooms. If you are not predisposed to a therapeutic or spiritual trip, if you must take those golden cubes, it's like I had a hiccup. It says if you must take those golden cubes merely for fun, you're most likely limiting your mind. Yeah, and guess what? Only an Israelite can get the most benefits. Only an Israelite can get all the benefits of mushrooms and DMTs. You see, when it comes to 2/3, and when it comes to these devils and heathens, they'll get some benefits, but by us being Israelites, and specifically us in the truth, where we have the Holy Spirit and we have the truth, we get the full benefits. Because Yahweh B'Hashem Yashai reveals the secrets to us, so we have full access. Yeah, so magic mushrooms is one of the most beautiful, it's the most beautiful thing that you'll ever feel in your life. You can only know what I'm talking about if you do it yourself. And it says magic mushrooms introduce you to your real self. Yeah, because our real selves have been locked away. We're supposed to be on a high vibration. We're not supposed to be in this low vibrational state. By us praying, fasting, meditating, taking magic mushrooms and DMT, it'll put us on our highest level. And now let's get some more benefits. It says more life satisfaction, more creativity, more improved social relationships, better mood, no more cluster headaches, no more depression, no more anxiety, no more post-traumatic stress disorder, no more addictions, and no more obsessive compulsive disorder, aka OCD. Yup, magic mushrooms are good for you. The Lord said, Yahweh B'Hashem Yashai said that He gave us everything for our consumption. And let's go to Genesis chapter 1 and 29. And Yahweh said, Behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree, yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. So it says Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai gave us everything. Notice how it didn't make no differentiations or no specifications. Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai didn't say, I gave you these plants, oh, but you can't have this. Oh, I gave you that, but you can't have that. No, everything is medicinal when it's used in its proper form, including mushrooms. Now, some may argue, oh, but it says plants. Mushrooms are fungus. Okay, then, let's get another scripture to prove it, since you want to go there. Let's go to Sirach, chapter 38 and 4. The Lord Yahweh hath created medicines out of the earth, and he that is wise will not abhor them. You see, this time, it didn't say seed. It didn't say plant. This time, it said medicines out of the earth. That means everything on earth. Every plant has a use. And then some people will still say, okay, but mushrooms are fungus though. So, guess what? In your body, you have good fungus and you have bad fungus. Mushrooms are good fungus. And guess what? You drink wine, don't you? When you drink wine, you're drinking fungus. Because how do you make wine? You have to stomp the grapes, and then the grapes ferment. And what happens during the fermentation process? Exactly, it creates fungus. So when you drink wine, you're drinking fungus. Guess what? When you eat cheese, you're eating fungus. Cheese is a fungus. So you see that? So there's good fungus and bad fungus. There ain't no way around it. There is no way around it. Guess what? A lot of you heard of poison ivy, right? Well, don't you know that poison ivy is really not poison? Don't y'all know that even poison ivy has medicinal benefits? I bet a lot of you didn't know that. And let's read about it. Because nothing is really poison if you use it properly. Let's read it. It says the medicinal benefits of poison ivy. It says most people remember poison ivy as a plant that can cause serious, long-lasting rash if touched. The leaves are used to make medicine. Homeopathic preparations of poison ivy are used to treat pain, rheumatoid arthritis, menstrual period problems, swelling, and itchy skin disorders. Oh, isn't that something? So most people remember poison ivy as giving you a rash. But poison ivy, being used properly, will get rid of rashes. Ain't that something? Isn't that something? So everything has a use. Every plant on earth has a fucking use. Everything has a use. And notice how it said, he that is wise will not abhor them. So by you ignoring mushrooms, by you ignoring the manna from heaven, aka magic mushrooms, and ignoring DMT, that makes you stupid. Because it says he that is wise will not abhor them. So what's the opposite of wise? Stupid. So there ain't no way around it. There ain't no way around it. And let's go to Psalms chapter 104 and 14. He causeth the grass to grow for the cattle, and herb for the service of man. Yep, so what's one of the main cattle that we spoke about earlier? Cows. What do cows eat? Cows eat grass. What happens when cows eat grass? They defecate and they form manure, aka cow patties. What grows out of cow patties? Yep, the manna from heaven, the magic mushrooms, which we're supposed to consume. And it said that herbs are for the service of man. Let's read it again. Psalms 104 and 14. He causeth the grass to grow for the cattle, and herb for the service of man, that he may bring forth food out of the earth. Yep. So mushrooms are good for you. There's good fungus and there's bad fungus. And don't you know that there was a new scientific study recently released that said that we have more in common with mushrooms than with plants? Yup, that's crazy, right? Because guess what? We inhale oxygen and we exhale carbon dioxide. When it comes to plants absorb our carbon dioxide and they release oxygen for us. So it's vice versa. But guess what? When it comes to mushrooms, whether psychedelic should I say so-called psychedelic or non-so-called psychedelic, mushrooms inhale oxygen and they exhale carbon dioxide just like we do. So there ain't no going against it. This knowledge is irrefutable. Yep, and this knowledge ain't stopping. So guess what? You're supposed to consume magic mushrooms. And they're very easy to grow on your own. There's many YouTube tutorials. You can get all the materials to grow magic mushrooms in your home, and you can have mushrooms in 2 to 3 months, and you can get all the materials for less than $100. Yep, or if they grow in your area, you can pick them out in nature. Or if you live in Holland, if you live in the Netherlands, or if you live in Spain, you can get them legally at coffee shops. You can get them in the form of mushrooms, or you can get magic truffles. Or if you know someone that sells them, buy them. But there's many ways to get mushrooms. So for a lot of you that are interested and never tried them but want to try them, get some. Or if you had them before and want to get them again, hey, get them again. This is the manna from heaven that Yahweh by Shem and Shah was spoken about, that is given to us for our consumption. Yep, and guess what? I'm going to give my personal testimony on magic mushrooms and all the personal benefits that I felt. Because a two-third doing it, or a heathen doing it, or a devil doing it, yeah, they'll have some benefits. But for us in the truth, we experience all the benefits. Because Yahweh by Shem Yahshai has given all this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to us. Yep, and I'm going to do videos on DMT. I'm going to talk about all the stuff. I'm going to do a whole lot more videos on the pineal gland, semen retention, all this deep, highly spiritual stuff. This really high-level consciousness stuff. I'm going to do a whole lot more videos on this. So expect more. And I got this memory card for my phone, so I can do very long videos, 1-hour videos, 2-hour videos. I'm going to do a whole lot more on this. Yep. And hopefully I'll be able to live stream too. Because I would love to do live streams on it also. That would be really fun. Yep, so guess what? The manna from heaven is magic mushrooms. And let's go to that picture again. Yep, let's read it again. It says, finally the truth comes out. The tree, fruit of knowledge, has been hidden. This is manna from heaven. Looks like little bread buns. Color of bdellium. A small round thing, comes with the dew, provides a visionary spiritual experience as coriander seed, looks like hoarfrost. No coincidence, right? The same exact identical description, appearance, and color and everything. Why? Because the manna from heaven is magic mushrooms. It says the Gospel of Thomas provides a clear picture of this simple truth and helps us understand it. And let's get another picture that I want to show you all. It says manna was round and found on the ground in the dew, would melt to mush if not dried or collected on time, and would breed larvae. All unique characteristics of mushrooms. When dried, it was like wafers of bread, and its color was like coriander seed. The consistency and color of dried magic mushrooms, which is in Exodus chapter 16. No coincidence. Why? Because again, magic mushrooms is the manna from heaven. The manna from heaven, the angel's bread, is the magic mushrooms, is the psilocybin mushrooms, is the so-called psychedelic mushrooms. And I'm going to do a whole lot more videos on this. And I'm going to bring a whole lot more stuff out on this because I have a whole lot more to bring out. I have a whole lot more. I got way more to bring out. So expect more videos. I pray that all this was edifying, faith boosting, and spiritually uplifting. And with that, I want to say shalom and peace.